One Star Cowboys podcast, presented by Haymaker. Now here's your host, Kevin K.T. Turner.
Hello, world. It's the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner. We have John Machota, Saad, Yousuf, and Kent Garrison. And big Cowboys news as they have decided to fire Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, after only 1 year. John, your immediate thoughts?
That a lot of people give the Cowboys S for taking too long and waiting forever to make these moves, and they did the right thing. Not even a full 2 days, and they made a decision that they need to go in another direction. I just thought it was obvious. As much as I know people were kind of backtracking when the last maybe week or so, where the way Jerry's been like, this wasn't all on Eberflus. Like, Jerry, we know, but it's mostly, he's a big part of it here. And for him not to wait long, I thought they did player exit interviews Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday was supposed to be the coaches' stuff. And so obviously they're not even waiting for that. They're moving on, and that's what they should do. And there's a lot of great candidates out there, so there's no excuse not to get a good one.
Yeah, I also think that, a lot gets made of the how much turnover there's been at defensive coordinator, and that can be looked at in different ways, especially if you're looking at it without context. But Dan Quinn left because he got a head coaching job. Mike Zimmer left because he retired. He came out of retirement and went back into retirement. It's not like the Cowboys were just willy-nilly firing defensive coordinators for incompetency. This is the first one that they've done since Mike Nolan, since 2020. So there's a difference in the way that they've done it, and it was very obvious. A lot of the defensive shortcomings were being compared to the 2020 season, and I think that's the one thing as well to keep in mind, that as much as they're going to have 4 defensive coordinators in 4 years, this is really the only one they've truly moved on from, and that's how bad the defense was.
When players start saying things towards the end of the year, there's the Kenny Clark comments. Dante Fowler said a few things that were a little eye-opening. I think we all know how Trayvon Diggs felt about the system, but no, I think we also know how they felt about him. But that's a little different too, because I don't remember maybe the Mike Nolan year of 2020. There were definitely some whispers, but I don't even know if it was public, of like players criticizing what was going on with the scheme. That said a lot to me. I mean, there's multiple dudes saying stuff about the scheme.
Yeah, I don't know that stood out to me as much as just a full body of work the entire season. I can't tell you anybody on that team that really spoke highly of what they were doing on defense. Now, we didn't talk to Kenneth Murray a lot. There weren't a ton of positive things to talk to him about. Maybe he would have, because clearly Eberflus liked utilizing him a lot more than he probably should have. But I factor in the entire year, and there weren't many people that I can remember even acting like they were excited about this defense and going forward with this defense, and that everybody was even on the same page. And so that's why I kept going back to, as the season was going on, like, who's sitting here banging the table saying like, oh, we got to keep him. We got to keep building on what we're doing. Like, there was nobody. There's nobody at all. And so when you see that going on, then you add that with, okay, which defensive player is just playing really well? Who's having this career year where you're like, well, you want to keep continuity because you don't want that to fall apart. I mean, it really is. I don't know if it just, like, the longer I cover the team, the more comfortable I am just sharing my opinion on things. But, like, this is such a no-brainer to me. I can't even think of a comp to it. Like, well, there's this. I don't know. When you get out the dry erase board and you do positives and negatives, I don't know what the positives are, other than that you're like, well, we just want to have a guy for a second year that we don't want to just moving on. Other than that, I don't know what the other positives would have been.
Yeah, and also the other thing that you mentioned, 2020, KT, and the other big difference here is that 2020 was an S show altogether. Dak got hurt. The offense was bad. They had like 4 quarterbacks that year or something. Like, it was just a complete dumpster fire, and then you were kind of figuring your way through that. This year was different. This year, the offense was really, really good. All of the spotlight was on the defensive shortcomings, and as John said, there was nothing on the defensive side that you could really point to. There were a couple of good weeks there with Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Vegas, but then when you get to the end of the season and you see what happened with Kansas City and where the Philadelphia offense is and what the Raiders are, you realize that wasn't as impressive as it looked like in the moment there, even if the context was a little different.
Yeah, and they typically take their time with this evaluation stage right after the season. we saw it last year in the head coach search and what they were going to do with McCarthy. This is a little different, clearly, but I think it does say a lot that this was done already, like just 2 days after the season's over. Because in the past, it feels like this would have been done on Friday or Saturday, and we have guys getting fired, head coaches getting fired with defensive backgrounds. Other defensive coordinator candidates are out there. I guess this will be the one that we can put online probably. Who do you want to be the next defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, there's 4 clear-cut options to me. And I say that because I don't have any interest in the up-and-comer DC. I'm saying that from covering the team standpoint, but I certainly would be feeling that way if I'm Brian Schottenheimer. Swing and miss on this, that could be your job too. Mm-hmm. They could easily go in another direction altogether after next season if it's so bad. And so because of that, the 4 names to me, as we record this right now, are guys that all have previous head coaching experience, that all have plenty of skins on the wall, that you're like, hey, this is somebody that can take over a defense that it really needs, I think, just some fine-tuning. Obviously, you need to add some personnel, but I think if you hire one of these 4, you'll be in good shape. Brian Flores is probably one for me. Jim Schwartz is right up there. Jonathan Gannon and Raheem Morris. And I find it just very hard to believe that the Cowboys can't get one of those 4. And I feel like, I think Raheem Morris, I saw he was interviewing. I think he might be up for other head coaching jobs too.
Okay.
So that obviously, if you get another head coaching job, you take that. But if you can't and you're looking for a DC job, I just think this is a great job to have because of how bad the defense is and how quickly you could turn it around. And even if you just get it middle of the pack, how impressive that can look on your resume to get you back into the head coaching cycle a year from now or 2 years from now.
Yeah, the only other name, I agree with those. I think Gannon is an interesting one because Gannon and Clayton Adams have some history, so Brian Schottenheimer would be able to get a good review on Gannon. The only other name that I would add, especially if Raheem Morris does get a head coaching job, is probably Jeff Ulbrich, and he doesn't have a head coaching background. He was an interim head coach, but he has 2 good defensive coordinator stops and history with Aaron Whitecotton, and if you're building around Quinnen Williams and defensive tackle, and Solomon Thomas was here because of Aaron Whitecotton and whatever. If you want to have some sort of chemistry there, Ulbrich was the defense coordinator when Aaron Whitecotton was in New York with the Jets as well. Ulbrich was obviously a defense coordinator recently for the Atlanta Falcons under Raheem Morris. So he'd just be the only other name that I would add to the mix if he's available. But other than that, I think I agree with John in terms of previous head coaching experience because if you're the head coach and offensive play caller in Schottenheimer, you want to have that Mike McCarthy approach where you're not really having to look and worry about what's happening on the defensive side. So, yeah, either those 4 guys or I would think Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah, because, if you're Brian Schottenheimer, you got to worry about offensive game planning. You got to worry about a call in the middle of the night that you might not have a defensive back because he allegedly hurt himself putting up a TV. Those are the things that you need to be focused on. You can't be focused on having to go in those defensive meeting rooms and then having conversations about, hey, so it's not working on the sidelines. Maybe go up in the booth and mix it up there. You can't be doing that.
He has some snakes at his house too, though, and a lot going on.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on. But I will say this, whoever it is, can you just please be aggressive? Can you please not say anything about bend but don't break? I got no time for that. This goes back just years of covering the Cowboys where it's like, can you just go out there and be a super aggressive defense where I can write some stories after games, after a few losses where I'm just like, yeah, they took a risk here on this blitz or something like that. Let me have to do that for once instead of just being no, we're just we're solid. We try and take the ball away. No, can you be the one that is super aggressive that other teams talk about before they play you? Like basically how I feel like it is every week when you talk about that Vikings defense with Brian Flores.
I don't think you can fix that in 1 year, though. I don't even know that a coach can fix that alone with the players that you have. Maybe talk to me after the draft and free agency. But you have to have players that have this like kind of don't give a shit attitude, that have that's kind of built up in them. Like I don't know, like that whole like being aggressive thing. Like I love it and think that's how you should go. Like you need to be like known for being physical. Then, well, you don't like. Here's a generic example. Harrison Smith can set the tone for a Vikings defense for over a decade just because he hits hard. But that type of guy, we don't have that type of guy. Donovan Wilson's a hard hitter. It is clearly a problem in coverage a lot. Like, that you can't have him out there a lot. So I think it's like, that's a great idea, and that's where you have to be looking at a long-term hire, which I'm sure they would want. But if you're really good at fixing the Cowboys defense, you might get a head coaching job in 2 years.
By the way, if we're just throwing names out there, absolutely no, reporting or anything with this. Pete Carroll just got fired, and we know the history behind with Pete Carroll and Brian Schottenheimer. If he's kind of at that, I don't think that at his age he's really going to try to build up a new defense. But Schottenheimer has spoken really highly of Pete Carroll. He's a defensive background coach. He's been a head coach for the last 2+ decades. His last coordinator job, I think, was with the 49ers in the late 90s. So he hasn't been a defensive coordinator in a while. But if you're Schottenheimer and you're trying to, dip into your connections, and then if you're the Cowboys front office and you're trying to trade for a certain player, whatever, where Pete Carroll is coming from right now, I'm just saying Pete Carroll could be a dark horse name to just keep in mind.
I have no interest in Pete Carroll. I have no interest in Rex Ryan. Obviously, he has connections with Schottenheimer too. Mm-hmm. This year, if Schottenheimer's got the Garrett deal where he's going to be here for, the better part of a decade, I think you can have some swings and misses. I don't think he's in a position to do that right now. I think, and also just because of the 4 names I mentioned, I just think they're all better options at this point. Pete Carroll 10 years ago, for sure, 5 years ago maybe, but right now I just don't. You're the Dallas Cowboys. You're not the Jaguars. Actually, they're in the playoffs. But
if Sean McDermott gets beat by the Jaguars here in the wild card round, surely he's getting fired, right?
I wouldn't say surely,
years.
But I think that's a good possibility. Yeah.
What about Spags?
Okay, first of all, is there another name that we have to throw out there? Brian Flores, do we know? Oh, go ahead, Kent.
I was throwing out, what about Spags?
Be a lateral move, right?
Yeah, I don't know that.
And if he's under contract.
It's not because Casey just did really bad, so I don't know if they're wanting to make some changes too. So
it'd be interesting if he would do it, but I don't know his contract. This is the thing, the Brian Flores thing is very confusing to me because no one knows if he's under contract or not.
Right.
I'd be very interested in Spagnuolo. I don't know why he would leave what he's doing right now, but yes, if he was available,
I like the Pete Carroll name, Saad. I think that's creative thinking. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. It just, unfortunately, age is real.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm not into that.
Not for him. We found out that he is the one guy who can live to 150. Just look at the energy.
I feel like
live to 150, sure, fine. You can do that, but I need someone that I know that these guys are going to buy into and they're going to be sold on what they're doing, and I don't know that's him anymore.
I feel like a little bit like we were this time last year where, they're going to move on from McCarthy, but all the names that were thrown out there, I don't think Brian Schottenheimer was thrown out there until like the last few days, right?
Yeah.
Do you see something like that happening this year, John and Saad, where we're talking about Flores, we're talking about Schwartz, but in the end it might just be somebody we're not even talking about?
The only reason I say no is just because this does remind me a lot of 2020, and when the Mike Nolan experience didn't work out, they knew they had to go get the no-doubt guy, and that was Dan Quinn. There was no surprises there. That was an obvious choice there. There was no, we're the only ones that knew about him. There was none of that, and that's why the 4 names I said, they all fit that Dan Quinn mold, and I think that because they had the success they did under Dan for those 3 years, I think that's what they're going to try and repeat.
Yeah, I also think that I don't see them going for that up-and-comer type thing, but if they did, that's where a guy like Jim Leonard, who's been tossed out there, the assistant head coach and defensive pass game coordinator for the Broncos, I think he comes into play then.
I'm interested in that for a couple of reasons. One is because we've been doing this, former head coach thing for really over the last decade. Just going back through them all, Eberflus, Zimmer, Dan Quinn, Mike Nolan, help me out, Marinelli.
Marinelli's where it started in 14.
Yeah.
No, it started with Marinelli in 14, carried over to Mike Nolan, then to Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer, Matt Eberflus.
I think your point earlier about if you're Schottenheimer, you might feel way more comfortable with the former head coach here. But the up-and-coming hire, like Jim Leonard's a guy I think a lot of people probably don't know about. And by the way, I'm going to sit here and act like I know a ton about Jim Leonard. I know his background, where he's coached. But I like a guy who's played in the league in the last 10 years, last 15 years. And doing something a little bit different. My biggest Jim Leonhard issue is that his name is spelled Leonhard. It's very confusing. Jim Leonhard, it should sound like Leonard, but I kind of like that. Your assistant head coach at Denver and the passing game coordinator on defense, like,
Has history with Schottenheimer.
has a little bit of a history. Like, why not try something new and do that? He's 43 years old. To me, this feels like that's something that I want them to do just because it's different.
All right. If you feel, I don't feel that way at all, but okay. I don't really have time for that. I don't really care for that. You're the Dallas Cowboys. Act like it. That's where I'm at on all that.
I think if you go back to last year and the way they hired Schottenheimer, the thing that really brought it together for the offense was the Pickens trade. When you look at how this season has gone along, not taking nothing away from Schottenheimer or Dak's season and all that stuff, I think whoever they hire at defensive coordinator, they also need to make sure that they get the personnel side squared away. If they take a big swing, like trading for Max Crosby or anything like that, that kind of would put the front office in a much different light than what they are currently viewed in, and would truly sell the all-in window of the last few years of Dak's prime. But I think that's the other thing with the defensive coordinator. Whether you're making a move in free agency, a trade, draft, whatever, the defensive coordinator hire is going to come first. And a lot of the criticism we've heard of Eberflus has been that he didn't have a scheme that fit the players around him, and he wasn't moldable to that. They need to get this hire right to where whatever they do then going forward with the defensive coordinator. And we should also acknowledge the Cowboys, as much control problems as they get blamed for, they give a lot of leeway to their coordinators in personnel decisions. And this defensive coordinator, whoever it's going to be, is going to have that kind of say as well.
And that's what some of my problems with what we saw over this past year under Eberflus. Like, there wasn't even base stuff that was like, that's their bread and butter. That's what they do. There was none of that. Yeah. There was nothing where you could even base, okay, well, let's not get too exotic. Let's get back to the base. No, they couldn't do the basics right. And so that's why I'm a little hesitant to just sit there and blame the players. I need to see a new set of teachers around, because I don't know that whatever was being asked was being taught correctly, because there's just a lot of weeks and a lot of a sample size here that I've seen where I'm like, I get it. Yeah, you definitely I'm not saying you get a new DC and you just run it back with this personnel, but you got 2 first-round picks. You can make some moves and do things like that to fit whatever that new DC wants. So it needs adjustments, don't get me wrong. But I never looked at the talent. And I know J.W. and Clowney never looked at the talent, just from conversations with him throughout the season, where they should have been that bad. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. Kent, do you have that tweet I pulled up there from, and like this is from a Pro Football Focus guy, and I'm not like big Pro Football Focus guy. I think it's fine. But PFF_Nikki. The point is, this whole thing is he laid out, here's what you rank in all of these stats, and it's somewhere between 29th and 32nd. And then last year, just 1 year's difference, you were kind of in the middle with everything. So, did Eberflus change that much based on, would it have been this bad with Micah, I guess is what I'm asking?
I mean, it would have been a little bit better with Micah Parsons, no doubt.
But
it wouldn't have been great. I still don't see him making the playoffs.
And the defensive backs still don't know what coverage we're in and things like that?
Well, like I've said before, I also see Micah going on his podcast and taking a blowtorch to the whole thing by about week 7. So
sure,
we can't just assume that, the player that you're going to see on Sunday is going to be the one that puts it over the top. There could have been a lot of things that he just voiced. You coming out of that Vikings game?
Yeah.
Micah Parsons on the podcast coming out of that Vikings game without even saying Matt Eberflus' name. Just how much he would have praised what Brian Flores did would have spoke volumes.
Remember, he did that with Dan Quinn, who he loves.
Sure.
He did that with Dan Quinn. The other thing with Micah is, look what happened to him this year. He got hurt. And I'm not saying that's his fault or anybody's fault, but my point is, if you're going to be, injuries happen. And if that injury happens, what is the whole defense going to fold all of a sudden? You can't have a defensive coordinator who is so dependent on one player regardless of how big of an impact that player makes. There was a lot of grace that at least I was giving Eberflus at the start of the season because of the timing of the trade and all that stuff. But then you get to the Cardinals game and then the Vikings game. And when you get down to that stuff, say Micah's on the team, he misses a week. You cannot get taken to the shed like you did by J.J. McCarthy and then by the Giants' backups, even if you're playing your backups regardless, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't be that dependent. And we can talk about, okay, it's a very similar roster year over year. The only two differences, the big differences were the defensive coordinator and Micah Parsons. Well, the Micah Parsons just tore his ACL. He's out for the season, and that could happen even if he's in Dallas. I hate saying that because, to John's point, where I'm not trying to stand up for the organization, and Jerry has said that in training camp, where just pretend like it's an injury, but we're looking at that reality in Green Bay right now where he is out. Does that mean that if the Cowboys in this prime contending window, they lose the one player, the whole operation folds? If that's the case, then you again have a problem at defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and if that is the case, then teams like the San Francisco 49ers wouldn't be as good as they are.
Yeah. The job is more appealing than I think surface level, because there's a lot. You might see this online a little bit in your comments on an article you read at The Athletic. Why would anyone want to come here? Well, you have the number 12 and the number 20 pick. You have Quinnen Williams. You have Kenny
You're already
Clark.
saying it's 20?
What do we know?
I don't know. Is it set already?
I think it's set, right?
The first one is number 12.
Oh, the
right?
first one's 12, right?
Yeah, the first one's 12. And
We're waiting on the
second
next one?
depends on Green Bay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, 20 or 19.
That's why I
We'll
specifically
get to
why I
picks in a
said
minute.
this to you. Specifically why I said this to you.
We'll get to
Okay.
picks in a minute.
I'm like,
The
man,
Micah thing was
you don't
bad.
You don't see a run coming?
Not if you don't know how to stop the run.
Okay.
And they don't. They're just too hurt. Picks later. I do think it is a more appealing job than people think. I do think people want to come here for whatever reason. Ben Johnson, maybe not, and it may not be the guy you want. But if we're all agreeing, I don't know if we are, that the golden goose here is Brian Flores, and he doesn't get a head coaching job, and he's not under contract in Minnesota, I think he would gladly take a little bit more money to come here. I also think Minnesota is more likely to money whip him than Dallas is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So, that's another problem.
Yeah.
Is this as simple as those shot? He goes, here's the guy I want. All right, let's go into Jerry and Steven's office. All right, this is the guy I want. And then they have a conversation with a few other people.
It is the Cowboys, so you can't rule that out. It shouldn't be that way.
Who's making the call here?
It'll be
90 people?
It'll be a collective decision. No, it'll come down to Jerry and Brian Schottenheimer. And I mean, Steven will be involved, and Will be involved, but I think final decision will come down to Brian and then Jerry cutting the check.
Who do you want making this decision?
Well, Brian
Schottenheimer,
Schottenheimer,
no doubt.
His job's going to be on the line.
Yeah, Troy Aikman said this on the ticket a couple weeks ago, where he was asked about the defensive coordinator job, and he expressed his frustration with the fact that we shouldn't even be talking about Jerry making this decision or not. It should be all on Schottenheimer, and I agree with that. He should be the one that's making these decisions.
Well, if y'all want to transition into picks, is there anything else y'all want to get off your chest here on this DC thing? Because I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here.
All right.
Jim Hard-Leon's my guy.
Okay.
Jim Leonard. I make no more failed head coaches. Jim Leonard is my guy. I'm on the Jim Leonard train. Go ahead.
Oh,
hop on
you
a
said,
train.
do I have anything else on my chest? I was going to tell you about one battle after another and my thoughts on it, but we'll say that for later. No, I already said that.
Send your tweets.
It's fine.
Send your tweets to John Machota.
It's fine. Any one of those four I'd be fine with. Gannon, Raheem Morris, Flores, Jim Schwartz. Any one of those four.
Is there any train you'd like to jump on?
Flores would be number one for me.
Saad?
Raheem Morris probably would be number one for me. Yeah. And then
No Jim Schwartz?
And then
I'd be fine with that too.
Also, if you're looking for a name that hasn't dropped yet, and I don't think it will, but if Todd Bowles gets let go in Tampa Bay, he could be another name that gets added to the mix.
Insert Todd Bowles into the Sean McDermott category of head coaches who've got a pretty good little track record of having decent defenses.
Bowles has connections to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I got one more name for you. William Belichick.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, bring that circus in here.
Is UNC really rolling that back next year? Or
have to.
what's going on?
Yeah,
he's not
too far
coming
down.
to the NFL if he doesn't have a head coaching job.
I don't think the owners are going to let him back.
Do you
in the
think,
NFL.
with this last 2 years, that he would even get a head coaching job? Is a DC maybe his only option if he wants to get back in the NFL?
I don't think he wants to that badly.
No, he wouldn't do that.
Imagine Schottenheimer
I'm just trying to get weird, guys.
doing his press conferences the way he does, and then Bill does his Thursday availability. the way he does. What a ride you guys would be on.
Ken said his only chance. How do you know Tom Brady won't call him up to try and take that Raiders gig?
That's the Brian Flores spot,
I don't think they love each other.
according to Vegas.
They might not love each other, but that might be something he thinks will help him win.
You know, in the name of hate, you could find a way to make some. I mean, what if you turn that around? You turn the Raiders around, legend.
That would be like
That's the
turning
appealing
around-
thing about here.
That
I
would
think.
be like turning around the Dallas Cowboys defense.
or just doing it here, like Dak. You know, like doing it here is something because it's been 30
Especially
years.
with the 30-year sample size and Jerry still being involved like he is. If you won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys right now, it would be looked at as one of the most impressive accomplishments in coaching history. Now, if you did that 5 or 6 years after Barry Switzer, I don't think it's, but the 30-year sample size on it,
Yeah.
it would be regarded as
Incredible.
like,
I also think if you do it after Jerry is gone, it takes the shine a little
it
away.
does, for sure.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, this is what it could have been like for the last 30,
Mhm.
Nah.
5, 6,
Oh,
40 years. I don't know, 50 years. I don't know. How long is this thing going to go
I think
for?
we'll be really good in the immediate aftermath, just because I think that's kind of how things work. Let's go to picks. Let's do picks. The road to Topeka is just it's a very clear path now, and it looks like me and Saad are the ones who are going to have to make this trip. But we're doing all the playoff games, so we've got 6 games
You guys
this
want
week.
to hedge your bets?
We
and
could
just
have a swing.
announce right now that you're just going to go together.
We could have a swing. That would be a fun
Yeah.
trip, man.
That'd be way more fun than going by yourself.
John 25 wins, Kent 24, Saad and I at 21. We have a chance. We will start the first game of the week. Carolina hosting the Rams. I have a 10.5 point spread here, unless it's changed since
Boy.
last night. 10.5. John, we'll start with you.
Oh, boy.
That's not an easy one.
Carolina beat the Rams just a few weeks ago.
Doesn't this feel like just kind of off topic while you're thinking, doesn't this feel like a year where the Super Bowl could be Jacksonville v. Seattle?
Yeah.
Seattle wins or Trevor Lawrence wins,
Yeah.
and then no one thinks about it again, and we just kind of move on to next
There's a
year.
lot of good, there's a lot of really good, not great teams with flaws. There's
Yeah.
no perfect
Yeah.
team. And there rarely is, I guess, but like, I don't know. I'm taking Carolina plus 10.5.
Was I supposed to pick? Sorry.
Yes, you
I had
were.
a work email. I had to figure
Oh
this
man, okay.
out. What was the spread?
10.5, dude. Do you
Give me
want
the
to?
Rams.
Would a weather report? Does that change
No.
how you feel about this
No.
at all?
I'm focused on this email. I
You're a
should never
big
open. Give me the Rams.
All right, Saad.
Give me the Panthers. I do think the Rams will win, but I don't think it'll be by more than 11.
Kent.
That's such a big spread.
I
Give me
know.
Carolina.
Carolina plus 10.5. Okay, I'm taking Carolina as well. The nightcap on Saturday, Chicago hosting Green Bay. I have Chicago, the favorites, by 1.5. So, Saad, I want you to start us here.
Give me Chicago. Sorry, KT.
Wow.
Kent.
Yeah, if I've learned anything about the Bears, it's that they'll disappoint. So give me Green Bay.
Okay, Green Bay and the points. I will say there's a lot of weird discourse happening out of Green Bay, and maybe it's all over the place. Like they want to get rid of Matt. Maybe this is every fan base. They want to get rid of Matt LaFleur, and Jordan Love's overpaid. Dude, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are exceptional at what they do. Like very good, and teams would kill to have them. That being said, Bears minus 1.5.
Wow.
They can't stop the run.
No
right now.
faith.
Too many injuries.
No faith in your team.
Too many injuries. And the week 5 bye. This is a big thing. The 49ers got a week 14 bye, and the Packers got a week 5 bye. The NFL has to do something where the bye weeks are between 8 and week 14.
No, it
or
shouldn't go as
6
deep.
and week 13. They need to be smashed together a little bit more.
And it needs to go further up from the back end. We shouldn't be having week 14 buys. That's crazy.
Yes.
It needs to go down to the last bye week is week 12 or max 13.
6 to 12.
Yeah.
Let's just do it that way. We made the rule. Commish, do what you will. John, who are you picking on this game?
Yeah, Bears.
Big David Montgomery fan.
I just and I shouldn't.
Now you got
because they
DeAndre
really-
Swift. There's rotating running
Yeah,
backs.
I mean, a lot of things point to the Packers owning the Bears. Bears didn't look really great in their season finale, but Who cares? That's how
Did you
gambling
guys,
works. Pick the team that you don't even trust. So the Bears.
Did you guys see popular influencer Hub's Life has given up the Cowboys for the Bears?
Oh no,
Yeah.
Hub's Life.
What's that about, Hub's Life? I know you're local. What's going on, man? You don't give up on your team, man. You don't just change fandoms at age 40.
Yeah, he's a fake fan.
What's going on?
He's a fake fan that I'm just now realizing right now in this moment is a real person. I'm just now learning.
That's
that.
not allowed for
Hub's
future.
Life.
I'm not yet familiar with their work.
Familiar.
Kent.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Buffalo. Buffalo
Wow.
is the favorite by 1.5.
Let's shock the world. Give me Jacksonville. Let's go.
I will take Buffalo because they have to. They just have to.
They do.
John.
Yeah, Buffalo, I don't know that Josh Allen will ever have a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl than this season, so give me
The
Buffalo.
one. Saad.
I'm a huge Josh Allen fan, but because of where we are in the picks, let's go. I'm going to take the Jaguars. There's something I always say, tiebreaker goes to the better quarterback, and Josh Allen's better than Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know anybody's playing better right now than Trevor Lawrence. He is on an absolute heater. The Jaguars have won 8 straight games going into the playoffs, which is the second longest streak behind the Texans, who've won 9 straight. The defense is legit. Give me the Jaguars.
If George Pickens is exhibit A of how getting a good quarterback can help you, Jacoby Myers might be number 2. So many wasted years in New England.
But also, by the way, Jacoby Myers is also, it's a very fascinating matchup because Jacoby Myers should be a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
They should have made that trade
Oh,
at the
gosh.
deadline. No question about it. The Raiders wanted to move on from him. Myers voiced it. They needed a receiver. Jacoby Myers should have been a Buffalo Bill, and we'd be talking about Buffalo maybe being the AFC favorite right now.
Very juicy on Sunday afternoon. Philadelphia hosting San Francisco. Philadelphia 3.5-point favorites. John.
Yeah, Eagles at home. That is tough, though, man. That is a really tough one. I mean, there's a lot of great games this entire
It's very good.
week. So, yeah, give me the Eagles just because they're at home. And I have continued to say over the last month, no matter how bad things have gotten there, that I still think they're going back to the Super Bowl.
I'm taking Philadelphia as well. San Francisco's defense is kind of whack right now. Saad.
Give me the 49ers. I like
Game
Brock
theory.
Purdy. I like Brock Purdy, and I like Christian McCaffrey. Also, that Eagles offense, I kept waiting the whole season for it to get going, and they haven't. The defense is legit, but I don't think the offense can do enough.
Kent.
Yeah, this is tough. Give me Philadelphia.
Philadelphia minus 3.5. Okay, we got 2 more guys. And I'll do it first here. New England and the Chargers. I'll take New England minus 3.5 Sunday night. That's an easy one for me. Honestly.
Yeah, I'll just go next. I'm
Yep.
taking the Patriots.
We all doing that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Kent.
I'll take the Chargers.
Okay. It's a little different. And then the last one, of course, we have Monday night. Just when you thought Aaron Rodgers' final game, maybe. Just when he thought. Tyler Loop goes wide right from Lucas, their Lovejoy High School. Poor guy. A rough week, right? Missed that kick. One of those games where a kicker's going to get blamed. Either Boswell or Loop. So I had to find out which charity these guys support, send a little donation to that charity just to get ahead of it because they're taking death threats and all that type of stuff. But we have the Pittsburgh Steelers again getting 3.5 points. They're getting 3.5 as the underdog against Houston. But the game in Pittsburgh. So, Saad, we'll start with you.
Give me the Texans. That defense is scary.
Yeah. John?
Take the Steelers.
Oh.
I feel like it should be the Steelers from a script standpoint. You need Aaron Rodgers to go a little further,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
And
Kent?
I just like it being in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, DK Metcalf back too.
Yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh. It reminds me of the field goal incident on Sunday night. Great game, but you do see discourse after a game like that, like, oh, I can't believe all that comes down to a kick.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the crazy hypothetical rule change of 3 kicks a game per team?
No, that's terrible.
I like this.
You have to use them strategically.
I like this like an alternate
You're
league.
not. You don't get rid of kicking, but you can't just kick a field goal at all times.
I'm going to need 10 years minimum of another league trying that before I even come close to being warmed up to that.
That's terrible.
Honestly, when you said that, I was like, if you're going to do stuff like that, then just take kicking completely out of the game then. I mean, if you're going to go that far with
See,
it.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
I think
get
it's
it.
been a part of the game
It's
where
called football.
Right,
you
but
can
I'm
be
just saying
strategic about
you're changing it so much if it gets to that level, then just take it out completely.
That was the one battle after another of Kent's takes. And
By the
John's
way-
opinion.
By the way, one other thing, this discourse happens, I feel, every year when an 8-9 team makes the playoffs and is hosting a game. The NFL seeding system and everything is just fine.
I agree.
There's nothing wrong with it. This thing is cyclical. It happens all the time. Some 8-9 team is going to make the playoffs and host a wild card. The reason the college football system needs a revamp in a lot of ways. The NFL system is fine. The division has to matter. That's the way you make the regular season mattering. That's the way that the whole operation works. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing has to be rewired. I think it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything the NFL needs to change, period.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make the argument that since I know that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered,
Easy mark.
that you can make the case that the Steelers-Ravens game this past week, and then was it 2 weeks ago, the Niners-Seahawks?
Yeah.
Niners Bears.
Those are like two of the greatest regular season games you could possibly ever watch.
Yeah.
Like business is booming. Nothing needs.
If anything, they need to dial it back.
I hate the kickoff thing because it just is. I honestly I cover a team that has Cavante Turpin, and I always joke with Nick Harris from the Star Telegram up in the press box that I'm always doing something else when kickoffs go on. I always joke with him. I'm like, I'll watch the replay. I know nothing's going to happen. Like it's gotten that bad, but I get it from a safety standpoint.
Sure.
Why you'd want to implement that, and so I'm fine with it. But when you start doing like, oh well, you don't use one of your field goals right now, like stop that. Like that's going too far.
The thing I would say about the league, the one change I would make is they need to dial back some of the things they're doing. Like there are too many, in my opinion, 9:30 starts on Sunday morning, which everyone watches either way. But too many of those games, then it kind of shrinks down the slate during bye weeks and things like that. I don't love the Monday night playoff game,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Like another day of football. Why would anyone bitch about that? They do a little too much right now, though, I think, jumping in on Saturdays of the college football playoff, which I think that's interesting. Like you could have the Saturday of the Army-Navy game if you want. Just take that day.
It'll be interesting in
Yeah.
a few years, I think, when Christmas falls on like a Tuesday, and to see if they're going to do anything to try to claim that day, because the next few years I think it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday type thing, but when it falls on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, that's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to take that. I don't really, from a player safety standpoint, I agree with you. I personally don't really have a problem. If you're going to do international games, it's just you're going to end up having weird time games over
Yeah.
here. The only one thing that I would change about the NFL right now is the bye week should not be into week 14. It's just
Crazy.
weird because you have teams that are basically already their destiny is decided, and the Giants if they have a week 14 bye, they're already out of it. Then you have to come back for like 3 more weeks after a bye week and play out the string. I think that sucks. Other than that, I'm with John. I don't think there's really anything that needs to be changed.
Yeah. All right.
Like what's better than the NFL?
Nothing.
What has something figured
What's
out
close
better?
to it?
I can't think of a single thing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Certainly not movies when they're giving awards out to just go on.
One
Hey, man, you gotta
battle
wait and
after
see, man. I
another,
think you
directed
go back
by
and do a rewatch.
Paul Thomas Anderson has something to say about that, I think.
I'm going to get to There Will Be Blood at some
So
point.
artistic and so deep.
Okay.
You
We'll,
just couldn't possibly understand it. It's too deep for you.
we'll be
I
back.
don't know if it's meant to be that deep, but
We'll be back next week, live from the tunnel here at the Haymaker Network Studios in Frisco. Make sure you're following John and Saad on The Athletic. All right, they got you covered. Follow them on social media. Ask them questions on there. Give them your hot Cowboys takes.
I need more of those on
he needs
social
more.
media.
Send them
Reach
to
out
him.
to me, yeah.
Jump in the comments on their articles on The Athletic. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're following Kent and that Mad About Movies podcast. A real heater of one reviewing Marty Supreme. I listened to that because I went and saw Marty Supreme.
thank you, sir.
Ken, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Ever seen?
Piranhas?
Oh, that's tough.
Oh, no. That's it.
Battlefield Earth.
Hold on.
Starring John Travolta.
Hold on. What is your most overrated movie? So it has to be something that other people like.
Overrated. Oh, y'all aren't going to like this one. You might not like it, John. Interstellar.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Never saw it.
Overrated.
I mean, it's a good
It's
movie,
fine. Good
but
movie.
I get what you're saying.
I've
Yeah.
seen that one. I thought it was fun.
That's
Yeah, it's
It's
fine,
fine.
but it is hyped a lot. Yeah, I get that. Probably a little
The
too
amount
much,
of
but-
like young men that say that's their favorite movie of all time is staggering.
Wow.
Guess I'm just not around a lot. Of that.
I mean, like 20 and up,
Yeah,
younger,
it's not-
younger
It's
generation.
really not my crowd, I guess.
Yeah, you're more for the high school.
Yeah. So I was say it's like even more specific when you put an age on it, Ken.
I thought you were going to say something like Gangs of New York.
No,
Just
that's
really
too old.
ang- just
Too old.
really anger
Too old
me.
for the youths.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We'll be back next week. Maybe we'll have a new defensive coordinator. Maybe we won't. Figure that out on the One Star Cowboys podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
The One Star Cowboys Podcast. The One Star Cowboys Podcast. The One Star Cowboys Podcast. Presented by Haymaker. Presented by Haymaker. Presented by Haymaker.